Hey guys, what's up? This is this year's undrafted rookie breakdown. But before we get started, this last year's video, I did last year's undrafted rookie breakdown with Holton Hill, Mataafa, all these undrafted rookies, that's all types of talent. You guys liked it, my most viewed video since, and it got so many likes, but I think we can break it in this video today. So share this video to your friends and make sure to tell them and you yourself smash the like button, and let's get into it, and let's break records here. But let's get into this year's undrafted rookies, and just like last year, we're going to break down every single player and see which ones are just a camp body, or can they make a practice squad, or maybe they could make the 53-man roster. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with number 1. Micah Abernathy, cornerback out of Tennessee. Now, he's a 6-foot corner, no interceptions and 1 pass breakup, but he's a good enough athlete where I think the Vikings would like that enough. And since we just cut our practice squad corner, I think there's room on there to make the squad. Since the Vikings are a little bit short right now with corners and we always have injuries, we have a guy that has enough talent where Mike Zimmer could craft him up, and maybe in a year or two he could be a backup. So I think he makes the practice squad. Number 2, we have Hari Blasingame, or Blasingame. I have to make sure I say it a couple different times or you guys will be mad. He's a 230-pound running back and has very good catching and blocking ability. So it reminds me a lot of Matt Asiata. Would be a good third down back. But we just drafted a good power third down back, so I don't think he makes the team. But I think the Vikings, just like last year, found a good undrafted running back, and he should be able to land on the practice squad. Number 3, a fan favorite, Jake Browning, quarterback out of Washington, and his stats are off the charts. He's breaking school records. But at the end of the day, he's really just a college game manager, a lot of good skill players around him, and unimpressive arm talent overall. So I do think this is kind of like Case Keenum, right? Case Keenum just blowing out NCAA records, just throwing the ball up there, making plays. But in the pros, you see, well, his arm talent's not very there. And if he has talent around him, like the Vikings 2 years ago with Diggs and Thielen, he can take you to the NFC Championship game we blown out in Philly. But I do think he has a good, solid talent, and the Vikings gave him like $1 million just to get him to camp. So I think he comes in, snatches that quarterback 3 job away from hopefully the veteran, and hopefully not Slaughter, and he makes the 53-man roster. He's coming along. Moving on, we have Davion Davis, wide receiver out of Sam Houston State, and he does not have a lot of info. There's some of these guys that a lot of these online scouts don't really care a whole lot about because, well, they don't have a whole high of expectations. But he's a 5'11", 100 pounds, but a consistent production in college, averaging about 70 yards and a touchdown per game. But the Vikings have had so many late-round wide receivers and so many undrafted guys that are just chilling there. The bubble's insane, so I don't think he's good enough to make the team or the practice squad. He will be cut at the end of training camp. Moving on, we have one of the biggest names on the list, and that is Marshawn Diggs, safety, UAB. And yes, his last name's familiar because he's Stefan's little brother. Little side note here, he didn't quite get signed yet. He's coming in for a tryout, but come on, it's Diggs' brother. They'll bring him to camp and see if he's worth coming along the whole time. But otherwise than that, he's really not that productive. Not a lot of interceptions, but he's a 6'3", 200-pound safety, and only the 2 interceptions last year. So I don't think he's a guy that will stand out. I do like the size and weight to him. And since the Vikings are limited at safety, I think he will get an extended look, but I don't think he quite makes it, and he will get cut, and he'll just be a camp body. Moving on, we have Brandon Dillon, tight end out of Marion. Good size, 6 foot, 250 pounds, and good production. had 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns for the last 2 years, but not a lot else is known, and the Vikings are randomly loaded at tight end right now with Irv Smith, Rudolph, if he's still around, David Morgan, and we have our rookie last year who was pretty horrible, nevertheless, would rank above him. So I think he'll just stick around and be a camp body, and hopefully he can stick around somewhere else. Moving on, we have our wide receiver on this list, Alexander Hollins out of Eastern Illinois. 6 foot, 170 pound flagpole. 6 foot 170. The dude is as thin as it gets, but he was ultra productive in college. 1,100 yards and 16 touchdowns last year. But just like our other receivers, I have a very hard time seeing this guy making it on the team. If you add some weight, at 6'1", I think you have to at least be 190 to even really have a shot. But if he could get to 200, I think that would give him his best chance to make the team as a bigger-bodied wide receiver. Well, maybe not the team, but the practice squad. But that's a lot to ask for an undrafted kid with only a couple months to get up weight. I think he might have a chance on some other practice squad, but not here in Minnesota. Just a camp body. Moving on to another offensive lineman. We have John Kenoy, center out of Western Michigan. 6'3", 300 pound NFL size center. He is another nasty streak. This is what we're going after all of this draft. We've been drafting guys, all 3 that we drafted have a mean streak. They like to finish guys to the ground, but unlike Bradbury, he's not very athletic. So he lacks some of that scheme fit that we like with some of the athleticism we like on the offensive line. So that's a strike against him. But a flyer, a 6'3", 300 pound dude with that mean streak and strength that the Vikings love, I think it's not enough to make the team, but I think he could land on the practice squad. Moving on, we have Nate Meters, DB out of UCLA. He is a 5'11", 195 pound with a little production, 1 interception, and 3 breakups. Again, it's a player that should dominate college to make a team in the NFL, and he did not look like that. So he is cut at the end of the camp, just a camp body. And another Viking relative, Tito Oditabu, defensive tackle, Miami. Another brother from the Vikings team. But he is a brother of Afidi, of course, and 6'3", 300 pounds. Another NFL-sized guy, but horrible production. Only 25 tackles, 2 sacks. Not last year, not his last 2 years, all 4 years of college. That's all he did. So I don't think that's near enough to make the team. I think he'll just be chilling as a camp body. Moving on to my last player, we have Henri Saint-Amour, defensive lineman out of Georgia Tech. He's a 6'2", 240 pound defensive end, and was very productive last year with 12 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. Basically doing it all. He was a turnover machine, but the Vikings are just too stacked at defensive end right now. We have so many from our late round picks, Ade Aruna last year, so he'll have a very, very tough time. I think he'd have a chance to land on the practice squad. But with the Vikings, that's a tough one to ask for. I think maybe Patterson might love him. He might put a good word for him. He has a good chance, but I think at the end of the day, he's just a camp body. So these were all of our undrafted rookies this year. But some other things I want to talk about. First off, that whole list encompassed only 2 members of the practice squad and 1 that will land on the 53-man roster. A little bit different from what I thought last year, but this is the difference from having 35 picks in the 7th round to the normal 1 or 2 that most teams have. So that's something the Vikings could do. But another big thing that I think is crazy, we come into this camp with only 1 kicker, Dan Bailey, on the roster. We did not bring in a rookie kicker to compete Dan the Man Bailey. Very, very interesting. Dan Bailey looked far from a shoo-in to make the roster. the Vikings signed him. He did sign in for a pretty cheap deal, so that's good for him, good for us, that we got one of the most accurate kickers of all time at a cheap deal, but he has not looked that accurate as of late. So, interesting, the Vikings are putting all their hope on a new rookie long snapper to fix their kicking moves. Let's see if it works out, but make sure, if you have not, why have you not? Slice that. If you have not, smash that like button. What are you doing? And then make sure to share it with all your friends, and we'll see you guys in the next Josie Vikings video. Roll it.